Welcome back, everyone. My name is Liam, and welcome to the Full Circle podcast. Today, I am joined with Artie, who is, I think, from based off your Instagram page, a graphic designer from Houston, Texas.
Yes,
Am I right?
yes.
Awesome. So tell me about yourself. What's your story? What's your background? Just
Well,
what's like the basics, I guess.
the basics, I guess. I always grew up like an artsy kind of kid, but I didn't go to school for art at all. And for a good decade, I didn't touch anything art related until I started working with May. And it's just started out with like some photo editings of the shows, and then it moved on to me making the flyers, and we always do this set list to print out to give out to fans of the songs that they would do for a night, and each one is unique for that night. Um, yeah, and then I started filming and video editing for their music videos, and it's been a roller coaster doing what I do now, and I love it.
That's amazing. Yeah, Brett tells me all the time how amazing you are. I'm so serious. I've known him for like 2 years at this point because that's when I did my initial try to do my initial podcast with him when they were music for sad people. Um,
For sad people.
it's such an old reference to anyone that knows. But I know I've met him so long ago. Like it was literally 2 years ago. We like little talked about it like this last week. And no, but he has told me so much about how helpful you have been to him. And I don't mean to be talking for him when I say any of that, but he does talk about you quite frequently. I mean that genuinely.
Well, I'm very glad to be able to work with a person like him. My way of working is I need to be told what is wanted. Like my level of creativity isn't very high, but I can get the work done if they tell me exactly what they want. And Brett has been that person. Like he has all the visions for his music and the visuals of things, like how he want things done. And I'll just do it. So he's been very, very easy to work with, and I am thankful to be able to work with him.
Yeah, speaking about Wen and May, yeah, like they got that you did their most recent music video. I know
Oh,
you've done a lot of all I think from what Brett told me, you've done all their music videos.
yeah, I did all the
Um,
I was there for filming, made sure, all the band members are in their place. Uh and then afterwards it's just me on my laptop editing away, and I make sure every detail is perfect. I don't know, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things like that. Like if one frame is just a little tilted, and that gets on my nerves, and I gotta fix it up.
Understandable. I mean, the artistic touch really just it has that level to it. Because I do drawing and stuff in my free time. So I mean, even when you're just starting, every nothing like is perfect. Everything's, in my opinion, everything's a little bit shitty when you first start something. And then the perfectionist in you is like, I want to do this better. But then it just yeah, it's so overwhelming. Let's be honest. Like if the slightest little thing is wrong or incorrect, you're just like, I gotta fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but speaking of One in May, what was the experience like doing the most recent video for Silhouette?
Experience. It was very, very, I had to make sure the lighting is correct so that the silhouette of everyone is shown, and there was a little detail in the some of the clips, like for example, our drummer, Steven, the placement that he was in, you could see his face. Like the light was shining a little bit in his face. Like it wasn't a complete silhouette. So I had to manually blank out his face on video, frame per frame. And I know it's very tedious, but I enjoy it. So it's not like this isn't work for me. This is like, um, I'm editing, you know, and but it was very fun. It was honestly the easiest. of the music videos that we did, filming wise and editing wise. It's fairly easy. Um, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine, a video like Silhouette would have been a little bit on the easier side, but then actually when you make me think about it, I'm like, wait, no, because the lighting has to be ever so slightly perfect. Like some of the other videos, in my opinion, you can get away with doing a little bit of laxing on the lighting a little bit, or some small things that you would imagine like most people wouldn't notice.
Mhm.
But I don't know, maybe that's just me. I've never done film production before. I've always wanted to do it.
It's very fun. You should.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't have the time, or I can't say that. I think it's more of I have so many things I want to do that it's like I can't just pick and choose just one thing. It's like I want to do 5 million things at once. But but yeah, is so besides that, is there any like other cool projects with any other bands maybe that are coming up
Yeah.
that you're working on that you like?
Yeah, in the past I've made show flyers for a couple bands like Hysteric Air. They're fairly new. Very the Strokes vibe, if you ever heard of the Strokes,
I don't think
garage
so.
band type, but they're great people. They commissioned me for some show flyers and Hemp with a backward P. They've commissioned me before. Um the the followings and the next couple of shows is with some of the bands that I've worked with before. And greetings from the underpass. I might be working with him very soon. He has some creativity projects that he needs some assistant with, and I told him like, hey, I'm your gal. Like I can help you with what you need. Like I love doing what I do, so please give me work.
Yeah, holler at me. Like give me something.
Please.
Anything.
Anything.
Uh But I mean, on that subject, like, what bands have you worked for? I mean, I know you've been more in the local Houston, Texas area scene, but like, what are all the bands you've worked for that you can at least name off the top of your head?
Hysteric Air, Hemp, I believe. From the top of my head, yeah, th those two were the most. Hysteric Air has been the most consistent with needing uh work with. Um, but as of now, it's mainly when it may. But I'm always open to for more.
Of course, I love that. But what another question I also kind of had that kind of like leads into some of that, like, what was your inspirations for some of the stuff you do? When it comes to like certain bands, like they might want something very meticulous or
Mm,
something.
yeah,
What like usually what's your inspirations for that kind of stuff?
I always ask them for a reference. Like I know some of them when I ask like what would you like and they tell me they don't really know. For those I look on their page and I see what the style of their photos were taken, you know. Some of them are very edgy, very sharp, and so I Google that sort of aesthetic and I just grab what I see fit in them and I add my own things on it. Hysteric Air, the first poster that they asked me to do, they gave me like a straight reference, like this kind of color, uh, like a placement of this, the font. I want this font, and I did a little twist of my own, and they always seem to love it. Like they, I'm very glad that my work satisfies their wants in their projects. And yeah.
Actually, quite interesting. I mean, also just from listening, I mean, from the bands that like all the way up to that tell you exactly down to like colors and aesthetics, what they exactly want. And I mean, do you prefer when they give you? I know you kind of said something earlier about this, but do you prefer like the projects that are more like director with what they want, or like when they give you more creativity than direction, I guess you could say? Which aspects or what kind of stuff like that do you prefer?
I prefer the direct approach of it. Like I would love for them to tell me exactly what they want. And then sometimes I would give them like two versions. Like one if I'm working on what they want, like exactly, then things starts, popping in my head like, oh, I think I could do this with this instead. And so I would make that, but then I would send them what they want first, and then I would suggest like, oh, here's I think if you add this and that, that would be great. So it's like it's a mixture of both, you can say, you know.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, I've met so many artists actually in the past. And I mean, from my podcast, if anyone is that is listening has like followed since before I'm trying to do the little reboot I'm doing right now. Um, that a fraction of the stuff I actually uploaded was the stuff I uploaded was only a fraction of the people I actually talked to. And the ones I think I enjoyed the most were when I kind of like got creativity and all kinds of
Mhm,
stuff to do. And I mean, in my opinion, and I've noticed the same thing with like other artists I've met, like actual like literal artists, not like music artists, that when they do commission work, that they like I've met some people that like they love when people are direct, but then they put their own twist to some things and they're like, I hope you like this. And
mhm.
then some it's like people like, I don't know what I want, and then they just come up with something and I don't know. I admire people that do that kind of stuff
Mhm.
because I personally can't. I don't think I could ever do something like that. Just I don't know. Just being able to have the inspiration to do things and then like put your own twist without like I don't know, like having that dark fear, the deep fear. I mean, that they won't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, but with Wen and May, I think I've been working for them for so long that I know their aesthetics. When I first started making show posters or show flyers for them, I needed to know what Brett wanted. But now it's like the most recent one that I posted on my Instagram, like that was all me. Like I just pulled that out of my brain and I showed it to him and he was like, oh, this is it. This is the show flyer. So it's my creativity is very high when it comes to them only because I've been working with them for so long that I know what they like and want.
Sure. I mean, how long have you worked for One in May? Just curious.
The end of last year, about, so a little bit after their very first show.
Sure. That's cool. Yeah, I was just wondering. 'Cause I'm trying to find people that like have listened to When in May since the beginning, and I just always ask people like, what was your first moment with them, or what was your like, how did you find them, or all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, how did you find them?
Well, I've known Brett for a bit now. But I was still in school for a bit, so I wasn't doing art stuff. And then he did the very first show and I went to that one and I took some pictures of my own. I didn't think of anything like that. I just thought, oh, pictures of the first show. And then a couple months later, I don't know what uh got into me. I was like, let me edit these to the way that he would, black and white, green, uh, touch-ups and whatnot. And I showed it to him and he loved it. And he was like, why don't you do this? You like art, you want to do art. Why don't you just start doing this more? And we just kept working from there.
Yeah, but that was actually goes into one of the questions I was going to ask, like, what got you into live show photography?
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to be, those people that would not stop recording at shows. Instead of living in a moment, they just record the shows on their phone. That's me. I'm recording the entire show, and then at the end of the night, I would go through each frame of a 30-minute video of the show, and I would screenshot each each photo that I think would be worthy of an Instagram post, and I would edit it and make it pretty.
Get pretty. Like I'm saying, what does that consist of? Like what does making it pretty consist of?
Nothing crazy. I don't alter anything. I just make sure that sometimes the lighting, for example, the last show, the lighting was very purple and blue and when you put it into black and white, some of the band members, their face were dark. You can barely see them. So I had to circle their face out and brighten it up so that it everything looks good in black and white. You know, it's very color theory, I could say.
Color theory. That's a good way to put it. What program do you use when you do the editing and stuff?
It's all on Photoshop, Adobe Photoshop, and then videos is Adobe Premiere Pro.
Ah, Adobe Premiere. That program, I tried to get into video editing with it and it just enraged me every time. I don't know. I would always ruin something every time I do it.
No, I was so finicky with everything when I started with it, but then I just got used to everything. It became easy. I don't
Understandable. Yeah, I mean, I know we briefly talked about using Adobe already,
know.
like before we even got on here, and I don't know. Like the only reason I even spent the subscription to even get Adobe Premiere Pro was just to convert file types. 'Cause I don't know why. It was like YouTube only took like well, no, yeah, because I the video editing parts of it, I could post to that on like YouTube and it would be fine. But I could never submit it. Even the audio files that the Zoom would give me,
Oh,
it wouldn't be formatted to be able to be put into the softwares I have that posted to like Apple Podcast, Spotify, and all the major streaming services.
mm,
It would be a different file type. Like they would I think the program would like be like it has to be an MP4 or something weird. I could be getting the file type wrong, but I'd have to convert it to like MP3 and do certain things with it. And it just none of the pro editing programs I had would like convert it, or if it did, it would just make the file size so huge I couldn't upload it. And then Adobe, like, I don't know how, but that's the only reason I use Adobe Premiere is because there was a way to export the audio into a file type of my choice.
yeah.
And it was just I was like, you know what? I'm paying like 15 bucks a month for this or something. I'm like, if I'm gonna keep going with this, I could live with this. I could live with it just to convert file types. Now,
Well,
so many people have called me an idiot since for that.
no, not at all. No, I my subscription is like all of the apps right now, even though I only use two, but I just know in the future I might need the others. But it breaks my wallet, but it's worth it, to have the creative freedom to and the programs and everything.
I mean, doesn't Adobe sell all the products like lifetime subscriptions? Like be like, oh, just one charge lifetime?
No, no, they're smart. They don't do that. No, they want you to pay more. But I think I have the yearly subscription, which is like
Yeah,
100 something every year. So
not
it's not bad.
bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's not bad. Yeah, because I was just like thinking about it. I'm just like, I remember Adobe used to have like I know at least Adobe Premiere, I swear there was a lifetime one for it.
Mhm.
Like that, but it was like ungodly amount of money. I mean, maybe I'm getting another program mixed up, but there was I don't remember if it was Adobe or something, but it was a program and it was like for a lifetime, just give us $750 and it's yours forever. Like no
No,
renewals, every new update for it or anything that comes out, all yours for free. Just
what?
750 bucks one time.
That's insane.
I'm like, I mean, if I mean if you already used Adobe for years, I'd imagine like I guess over time it would make sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
But and like if you're using it for years and years and years, because I mean I feel like that would be worth it. But I don't know. I mean, I know so many of those companies have like been doing updates like that where you like take off lifetime subscriptions
Mhm.
and they're doing like monthly. Like you have to do this. But then if you want to save money, like do yearly. It's only 160 bucks for the whole year or whatever. But like, come on, the whole year. But I don't know. Maybe that's just my 2 cents on some of the programs and how pricey they can be.
No, it's crazy.
I mean, it's uncalled for to a degree. Let's be honest.
I agree.
There should be more options. Um, so Brett mentioned that you're gonna use this for other purposes, and I'm just I guess my next question is, what makes you stand out compared to other people doing what you do between the video editing to production, all the different stuffs, graphic designing, all the stuff you do.
Yeah, I guess no, I gotta go with passion because I love
Passion,
what I do. Passion. I love what I do, and I'm very I like the sort of interpersonal connection that I build between me and a client. You know, I ask them what do they want
sure,
instead of, everyone has their own aesthetics. Like it's not the same thing. Like just because something looks good doesn't mean it looks good for someone else's aesthetics, you know? I wouldn't edit the cinematography for When It May the same as someone would for, let's say, like Taylor Swift type of music video, you know? Like I make sure that they get what they want in a timely manner because it's every I like I'm very diligent, I would say, when it comes to editing and getting work out. I don't like to sit and just because my deadline is in 2 weeks, I'll wait till the last day of the 2 weeks is over to start working on it. Like I've been just giving results out immediately, maybe because I've only gotten so much work so far and it's not a buttload yet. But whenever a band messages me to do something for them, I automatically pull up Adobe on my computer. I start doing it. I ask them what they want, what color, what scheme. Like it's very passionate about the work, you know? Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, you're very diligent. You want to like get, I guess, them something to work with, I guess, as fast as possible, so that they can get a full picture of what they might get from you. I mean, even Brett's told me how he's actually been impressed by how fast you turn around some of the projects. Um, and I mean, I don't mean to slightly answer the question for you, but I mean that is something he told me is that you're very fast about turning stuff around when someone submits it to you. And personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can come up with. And I hope that goes very far.
I hope so too.
Um, I'm sorry, I keep staring at your shirt, the When in May shirt.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I've been
Yeah, I
staring, I've
wore
been wanting to say something the whole time, but I'm
yes.
just like I'm on a flow, but I'm like when in May shirt, like ADHD keeps focusing on it.
Yeah, this is I always say this to every one of the shirts that I design, but this is my favorite so far. It's all of them like stacked on top of each other. I don't know, you can see it very
Oh my
fully.
God.
You see it?
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I've already know what the shirt looks like. I have one. It's in my dresser next to me. Like, I mean, and every time I actually go to shows, even if it's like one of my favorite band's shows, I mean, shout out to Brett, but I always wear my One in May shirt to concerts. And I always have people walk up to me, what is that shirt? Like, what's that band? I'm like, oh, it's one of my best friends. Um, his name's Brett, and and they're One in May. You know, they're one of the most pretentious indie bands out there right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna reference it all I want because when I did my first podcast with him, it never actually made it to YouTube or anywhere. It's still sitting on my computer.
No.
I know, I felt so bad. I got halfway through editing it and I just not writer's block, but I just my motivation crashed.
Aw,
and I
you
just
gotta
halfway done.
give it to me. I'll finish it. I'll finish editing it.
I have so
Wow.
many stories of me and him. I think my first ever podcast episode. I when I started doing this again or tried
Mhm.
to, he made me promise him that I wouldn't do a 4.5 hour podcast episode again with somebody. It was so much fun, and I can say it is still to this day a podcast I enjoyed the most out of all of them that I've ever done. My favorite one so far is that 4.5 episode that never made it to YouTube. I think an hour of it made it to YouTube. Um, but I was just no, to this day, I don't think of it as a failed podcast episode at this point.
Mhm.
I think of it as introduction to an amazing friendship. But
You gotta print it on DVD or something just to have
dude,
a physical.
just the all the full circle podcast VIPs, maybe even the Brett Simps. I don't know. Uh this limited time for 49.99. We're gonna put it way up there on that price point. 49.99. We're gonna screw you all on the price on this. But you know what? It's the quality of the content. Quality of
No,
content that is that's what it is.
you gotta charge them the same amount as that lifetime subscription thing, the $700 and something cents. You get
749.99 for life. You can have access to
for
this.
life.
No bullshit. Okay. Just do it. Here you go. 750. You can have it. Just like the VIP zone. Just here you go. I don't know. That cracks me up a little bit. I honestly forgot I did that, and then we started talking about Brett like half of the time we've been on here, and I just like, holy shit! I just realized I have like 4 hours of film with him that never really surfaced. Um, yeah, I definitely can say commissioning you to do a Liam and Brett bloopers video, just funny moments. I guarantee there's probably like 45 minutes of it. Let's be honest, out of everything.
I would love that.
Like I don't know. Me and him talked about like Pizza Hut, McDonald's, and like our job experience, and I don't know. It was so off topic that it like I think at least a third of that interview was just us talking about such random stuff. It was amazing. But I'm gonna get back to the seriousness
Yes,
though
yes.
a little bit.
A little.
Um, but what? So this is gonna be a island. But what is your favorite show that you've ever been to, like concert wise? It could be, one that you've done videography, not videography, but you know what I mean, like photography, all that kind of stuff for. It could be one of those. It could be, I don't know, a band you've seen live or something.
Mhm. No, it's gotta be the Winnie show. No, it's the most recent show we did, August 31st at White Swan. That honestly was a very good show. Like all the bands there were amazing. Um, everyone was just good, and we had a touring act come from San Antonio called Honey Rot Cheerios. Honey Rot Cheerios.
They're on my schedule somewhere, I think. I don't remember where, but
Um,
I think so.
they're amazing. Like the energy that they were giving was like so up there. Like it's incredible how late we were at the show and how much energy they had still. Like they gave me energy just from them being there. And no, all the bands, all of the openers and the acts, we just got along with everyone.
But what kind of music do you listen to? Just
Uh,
curious.
Mostly like very rock. I like slower songs, like R&Bs, soft rock. If like my favorite band is The Strokes right now. If you have you heard any from the 1975?
I don't think so. I've heard of that band before, but I never really got into like I never like actually went to listen to them.
Mhm. No, they're great too. But it's just like depending on what I'm doing. If I'm working, then I'd like something slower to listen to, you know. But if I'm out and about or like driving or doing handiwork or something, then I could go for like some classic rock, you know,
Sure.
some Aerosmith or
AC/DC, Guns N' Roses.
AC/DC. Come on, like all of
Like,
the above, you know.
right. All the above on those. I mean, I think I'm more like honestly, I've learned over the years, I've if there's like two genres, like subgenres or like categories of metal you could say I'm really into
Mm.
because I'm a very big rock and metal guy. Like
Mhm.
you hear me like jamming to Win in May, I'm just saying, like it does not seem like it fits my vibe, but then you play after the breakup, let's be honest. You'll have me like singing my heart out in the car like it's Taylor Swift. Like, let's be
Oh,
honest. Brett
okay.
doesn't even know I do that, let's be honest. But no, I mean like the kind of stuff I've noticed I'm into, and just from going to see like bands I love live, like Ice Nine Kills and In This Moment and Five Finger Death Punch, Metallica, all of the above.
Mhm.
I mean, I think I'm starting to like as I've aged, I'm starting to get into more like the theatrical stuff, the stuff that has like a little bit of a stage play to it, but
Yeah.
not really.
So one of me.
Um, I haven't seen them live yet, so I can't say that for sure.
No,
I want to see them live so bad. I just want to like rush the stage and be like, this guy fucking sucks. I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Love you, Brett. Love you. Hugs and kisses coming from St. Louis. Come on.
the
Anyway,
best you
but
should choose
no,
her
I
for
mean, I've
all your
noticed
work.
if
Just
I'm not into like theatrical
anyway,
stuff where I
that's
can
my
just like,
ADHD talking at this
dance
point.
around the house and be like, we're gonna throw flowers this way and stars that way. I don't know, just like doing some weird shit. Um, if it's not that, I feel like I'm like in a sense like an adrenaline freak when it comes to how like fast tempo they have to be sometimes and how drastic some of the things have to be. I don't know. But I also like have such a high appreciation for like slower stuff and calmer
Yeah,
stuff.
like I
Like
love like
just
my
love.
favorite song from Winnie is By Your Side because it's like a
Yes.
very slow song and I love.
That was the first song I actually advertised on TikTok. I don't know why. I feel bad because I stopped, broke my promise to Brett, but I said every single day I was going to shout out When in May. Um, Eventually, I forgot. Like one day I woke up and I literally forgot, and then I was like, "Holy shit, I need to do this." And then I never did it. So maybe after I get off of this, I'll be like, "Go check out One in May. Do it. It's they're the newest, most pretentious indie band out there right now. You check them out. Check out the newest EP, Lying About Silly Things. Like same crappy script every time I say, but hey, it's fine. I don't know. I think Brett's inspired me to really get into like marketing and stuff.
Mhm.
Really, it's really odd, but I don't know. I've been trying to get into marketing,
Yeah,
but I
it's
can't.
because
I don't know. I'm struggling
you're on your Instagram you're a production manager or
a little bit. I have a
yeah.
friend. He was actually my first ever podcast guest. His music name is Nat Miller, but he goes by Lambo,
Mhm.
and he's really into like acoustic stuff right now. He needs to make up his mind on what he wants to do though, because he got for a while he was really into like EDM
Mhm.
production and stuff, but then outside of that, like he would do like acoustics, and there's like one like solid song I think that's still up and for streaming and stuff that actually I think is the only one posted right now. Um, but I mean I think that man needs to make up his mind. But no, that's the person that I have like the production manager thing for.
Yeah.
But in reality, he never really does shows. I'm gonna be dead honest with you. But whenever he does, he calls me and he's like, "Let's do it." But it's so inconsistent. I'm tempted to take that off my bio, but it's like no, like whenever he needs a show put on or something, it's like I'm the first person he calls because I mean I want to do that stuff for like a career
Yeah.
kind of thing, like setting stages and helping a big band like do their performances and stuff, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah. No, and
So I mean, if
you're obviously very much of a people person. Like you can carry on a conversation so easily. So I think marketing and, such would fit you very well.
You should talk to people that have known me for years. I am not a people person whatsoever. Like you see me come on here and it's like I just yap for an hour and a half or 2 hours. It's like that happens. And then it's just like, but that's just my enthusiasm, really. It's
Yeah.
more me being excited to talk to someone. But I mean, no, if you ever, when and if you meet me in person, just know I'm probably the most socially awkward person in the room. Like I will sit in the corner and be quiet and just observe. Like that's the type of person I am. But then you put me in front of a microphone and I'm just like, what's up, everyone? I'm excited. I love people. I love everything. It's like a complete like switch. It's like, oh, I hate life. I'm Brett Fitzpatrick. I'm just a depressed singer from a band called When in May from somewhere in bumfuck Texas. I don't know. I go from that to just like, what's up, everyone? I love people. Let's do this. This is a band. This is this is Artie right here. The best. You should choose her for all your work. Just anyway, that's my ADHD talking at this point. Um, but no, like seriously, like you put me in front of a microphone or anything, and I can just yap on forever, even if it makes no sense or if it even is on topic. I mean, if I'm passionate about a subject or if something really strikes my interest, I'll yap about it for hours. Um, like I don't know why right now When in May is one of those topics for me. Like, you mentioned When in May to me, and I'm like, holy shit, I love that man. I love everything about him. Like, let's talk about it for 2 hours. I think I could make a podcast for how much I love Brett and When in May. It's depressing. You could make me talk about any other major mainstream band I love. I won't be able to produce that much stuff for like how much I love them. Like you put me in front of Brett, it's in When in May, or you put that subject in front of me, it's like I'll
It's
talk
done.
forever.
It's
It's
done.
done. You got an episode right there. Why you sh- here are 20 reasons why you should listen to When in May. And I can't come up with stuff like that off the top of my head, but still.
Number one.
Number
Number one.
one, just black and white. The black and white aesthetics. Like if you're into emo music in any way, shape, or form, check them out. The other day, you know the funeral portrait, right?
Mhm. I've heard
Yeah,
of them.
I I told Brett the other day that his music sounds like a toned down version of the funeral portrait. And he looked it up and he's like, holy shit, that you know how much that comment means to me? And I was just like, dude, I'm just making a fucking weird observation because the funeral portrait just dropped an album. They just dropped an album and there's some of the songs I hear Brett in them. Maybe I'm just going delirious from how much I listen to his stuff and watch his band, but there's so many moments where I'm just like, I was like, I've listened to that album on repeat for like, I think what today's Monday, the 3 or 4 days that the what Funeral Portrait album's been out. I mean,
Mhm.
it's the only thing I've been listening to on repeat all day, every day. And I keep talking myself into this like analogy of like, why do I see Brett singing all these songs? Like, I don't know. Like I just mentioned that to him and he didn't even really know what to say, to be honest. He was just like astonished, I think. Um, I'm trying to think. Now I have to think of more questions. Yeah, I got myself going with anime again. Now I got to get myself back going again. Um, what other stuff do you have that you would want to put on your agenda out of like your skill set? So you have all of the skill set of like the cinematography, film editing, graphic designing, and all that stuff. Is there any other like skills that you want to put on your, I guess, arsenal of things?
Yeah, I honestly never really thought about that because I've been on a roll with everything that I got on my plate right now. But I guess what is there? What else is there out there? Um, is there any other form of that?
Trying to think.
Or is that all of it? Am I
I mean, honestly, all the things I could think of are all like subtopics of all the stuff that you're already good at. Because from what I've gathered, you're very fast and diligent about doing your work. You're into cinematography, you're into, film production. We'll just say film production as a whole at this point, not just film editing. Was it graphic designing? I'm trying to think. We're just gonna say you're a Photoshop ambassador at this point. Like
Honestly, honestly,
100%.
I paid so much for the subscription. I might as well be.
And something go like list out to me what you know how to do, if you
Um,
can.
let's see. I could remove, just Photoshop something out of a photo. Do the same thing for video, which I had to do for silhouette. Uh, Transitions, make it look like for silhouette, make it look like you're writing out the name, for
Sure.
after the breakup, when he walks by, the title appears. Um, so I guess like yeah, like manipulation, graphic manipulation. Um,
Like
is
all
that
that goes in the same topic though.
I
Like
know, I
I'm
know,
trying
it's
so hard.
so
I'm trying so hard to pry stuff out of you at this point. Um, Damn it, I'm cooked now. Yeah, we got me so interjected about one anime that my brain's just like, I'm done. I'm fried. I'm done.
you're
I already
done
have a feeling that
now.
half of the freaking podcast is gonna be about me and me simping over Brett. We'll just say that. Half the podcast is me simping over Brett. That beautiful piece of shit. I feel like you're gonna clip some of this and just, send it to him. Be like, look
Yeah.
what your
Oh
friend's
yeah.
saying about you.
Oh yeah.
Just like all this horrible things. Um, what are things you're passionate about? Like in general. Like nothing
Yeah.
like not it doesn't have to be specific to what you do, but what are things you're passionate about?
Well, in the form of or in any form of art, honestly, I'm very crafty. Um, I like to, other than graphic designs, I like to practice realism art. Like I've been practicing like sketching like realism faces and anatomy and stuff like that. I've always been into like biology and anatomy and science, but
Sure.
uh, unfortunately, I didn't go through with it. But I feel like that's still a part of me as I bring it into graphic design.
You gotta sketch something up, gotta
I gotta
gotta
get
put it in there.
yeah, like for the most recent when it may flyer show flyer for October 4th. The sketches is of them, like the silhouette of them. But
Yeah.
I had to make sure that, the head isn't actually placed down here or like it's just very
You gotta
it's
get
tough.
like you gotta do like the sketching of like the outline of them and the details of, the silhouette.
Yeah, the
I
silhouette
never really thought of
like the
that until you
silhouette, I had to make sure that each of their silhouette you can distinguish that it's who it
sure.
is. Like for Brett, he's front and center as always. But his little hair, out on the side, it looks like his little hair. And then behind him is our bass, Brandon, and his hair is like poofed up like this, very, you can see it in person too. It's always up here. Behind him is our drummer, very oval head,
Oval,
oval, very round,
shiny too. Put a light on it. It
shiny,
it
like,
it
like,
it'll
and then our synthesizer, Seth, is like at the very back. He's small little boy. Um,
small little boy
oh
sitting
boy,
there in the corner just playing with his little piano and all the other
that's
little
it.
instruments back there. So like what like another thing I kind of want to get into is so when like with bands like Gwen and May, obviously, you said you have to memorize, not memorize, but get used to their aesthetic for bands and stuff. Um, and I mean, if I already asked this, please let me know. But you like, what is usually your go-to solution when you can't like find something that a band wants? Like what, like when you have to do substitutions
Mhm.
and you get like big brain ideas
Mhm.
on like stuff you think they'd like because you can't really find something that perfectly fits the aesthetic. Like, how do you come up with these kind of things?
Mhm. Well, I hope it doesn't consider as cheating on creativity, but for one of my, for example, I searched up movie posters, like just
Sure.
vintage movie posters, the way it's just every star is placed on the poster, like what makes it pop out. Like this shirt was inspired by a random movie poster that I saw on Google. I just made it its own thing. For other bands, I look up like for Hysteric Air, I looked up, I believe, like grunge, mm, this disassociative, like just like keywords of what I think when I look at a band and what they have shown online, you know. And I
Sure.
looked through Google, and then eventually something would pop up. Maybe sometimes it takes like two different things or even more, and I just like blend it all into into one, you know.
Sure. Yeah, I get what you mean. You get like all these little different little pieces and you just got to find ways to blend all together. It's the importance of the whole thing. I feel like the blending and rendering of like poster or image or even a drawing and anything is what really brings it out, what makes it stand out, be unique compared to everything else. Um, I mean, in my experience, at least, I've seen that
Mm.
a lot of those things is really what makes a project shine.
Yeah.
Um, let's say go a little bit more in detail though, like about this. Like, so if you were to like, I don't know, make a poster for me, like right now, what would your step-by-step process be to creating that?
Mhm. For what? For a poster or a logo or
We'll say a poster.
a
So
poster?
I don't know, like what would your step-by-step process be
Mhm.
for creating that?
Well, first I would stalk your Instagram page a little bit, like look at what you've been doing, like what you're posting. And I see right now, I see on your hat, you like
Mhm.
that style of art to wear it, of course.
Sure,
The lights behind you, it looks like you're very vibrant, very like electric,
sure.
you're saying sure, am I getting it wrong? Like, see,
You're
this is
not
why
getting it wrong.
this is
I
why
mean,
this is why I ask my client, what do you want? I don't
what
want
do
to,
you want?
what do you want? What do you want? And
Um, I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think. What is I want? Because I'm a very dark person. Let's be honest.
mm,
Anyone that even watches my page is that English. Okay. Uh, but anyone that watches my pages on Instagram or um even maybe even Snapchat from time to time. I mean, I don't really use it very often, but anything from like if you were to stalk my Instagram page because I'm on Instagram the most, or maybe even my TikTok page, because that's honestly like my second favorite place to be sometimes. But if you really like watch the stuff I repost or I comment with that I share, like the overall theme of it's really dark. So I mean, I guess you could say I have a really dark aesthetic.
mhm.
Considering, I mean, I'm wearing all black. I'm wearing all black, you know. I think I'm noticing I'm really into like black bases and then a lot of like colorful aesthetic, like little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, you think about it, yeah, the hat kind of gives that vibe off. I mean, you see all black on the hoodie and you just see the little prints on the side, little spottiness all over it. Just but trying to think what else. Because let's say yeah. Besides, yeah, I'm about to say darkness. I'm like that's all I can really come up with. It's just I feel like that's my aesthetic because I'm in a dark room. The only thing that's really, I have lights brightening my face, but besides that, I mean, everything else is dark. Dark because my favorite two colors are black and red.
Like for hemp, uh, they didn't know what they want like at all. Like they were like, "Oh, you please just make something for me." And so I look up grunge newspaper type of like art, and then I stalk their Instagram page and I screenshot like a good photo of each member, and
Mhm.
I go on Photoshop and I cut out all of them. I paste them together. Doesn't matter if it's not from the same show that the photos are from. I just put them together and I put words together, and it's just like a big collage, like a scrapbook type.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess they'll put little bits and pieces together. I guess when you can't, yeah, when you say stalking, I'm just like, oh, really? You're gonna stalk me, huh? You're gonna stalk me, huh? That's quite professional of you. But I mean, if that's what you got to do to come up with something, I mean, that's creative in my mind. Like observe and being observant,
Mhm.
figure out like surprise people, like be observant, like being able to surprise people like that.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a talent.
I should have said observe your page rather than stalk your page.
I
I think
mean,
observe.
well, either way, it gets the point across. You'd be doing the same thing regardless. To be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah,
if you're stalking, you're observing. If you're observing,
you're
let's
stalking.
be honest, you're stalking, but in a more polite way. How about that? Uh, I guess that makes sense. I hope it does. But I mean, I'm not gonna say that that's not how I figured out what some people's interests are and stuff. But I mean, in this day and age of social media and everything,
Mhm.
I mean, it kind of encourages you to stalk people. Let's be
Yeah,
honest, because it's like you got your stories, you got your posts, all that stuff.
you got your
You just,
TikToks.
yeah, like I feel stalking is just become such a like broad term now.
Hmm.
Like I'm not trying to degrade like the seriousness of sometimes of that kind of topic,
Yeah.
but I mean I don't know. I just feel like the way like the direction social media is going, it just I don't know, just I just feel like it's encouraging that kind of behavior more
Hmm.
than discouraging it. I mean, what's your opinion on that? I
I
don't know.
I agree. I agree. Social
You
media
agree?
has made it too easy for us to know a person, but at the same time not know a person, because
Yeah.
you post what you want others to see.
Mm. Yeah, you post what you want people to see, or you just post stuff that you're feeling in the moment.
Yeah.
Like I feel you can't just accurately judge someone for who they are based off what they post because in reality, I could post so many different things and then you just try to talk to me and it's like so different.
Hmm.
But then again, it's like I feel like also at the same time when people post certain things that uh and you try to talk to them, it's like it's two different things. But then again, one of it's just posting stuff that's like, oh, mood, I feel that. But then you actually talk to the person, there's actual emotion behind it. It's like, oh shit, that's a person.
But then
I don't
sometimes
know.
it's also like s- what you post could be what you actually are or who you actually
Sure,
are. Uh, like the anonymous pages,
sure.
they post exactly what they think and feel and whatnot, and then in person they're displaying what they want other people to see, you know?
Right. Yeah, they don't want you to know who they are.
Mhm.
And they display that very well. I mean, and I feel like there's a difference though, because something like that, they're being more direct, just like, we don't agree with this, and this, but we're all the same because of the mask.
Mhm.
And honestly, I find that kind of astonishing actually sometimes to look at because it's like, oh my God, like how much power they bring.
I
But it's like, you have no idea who they are. These are just like, anonymous people.
anonymous people.
Like that's the only way you can put it. Like, yeah, you're literally saying what they literally are, but it's like anonymous. You don't know who they are.
Mm,
You never probably will. Um, I don't know. I mean, that's just I find stuff like that like is different though, because it's like they want their opinions to be heard. They want that stuff to be heard. They pick and choose what they want people to hear and see from them. Where it's like I could just be death scrolling on Instagram, like
yeah.
just death scrolling. And I mean, like, what I mean by that is just like endlessly scrolling your mind
Yeah.
away, just stuff like that. But it's like I could do that and I could just fill my Instagram story with all kinds of memes and all kinds of other stuff. Maybe even like, videos of bands. And I mean, it could be a whole arsenal of variety compared to that. I don't know. That's my counteraction to that. That's my observation. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
making any sense, but I don't know. So you mentioned you went to school early. So early in the podcast, you mentioned you went to school. What did you go to school for? If you didn't go for like the stuff that you're doing now.
It was for biology, like medical. I was,
Sure.
yeah. But I just it kind of held back my motivation for art because while I was doing that, I was not touching uh, pencil to paper at all. I wasn't graphic designing. I didn't even have Photoshop. Like I didn't have Photoshop until the end of last year.
Sure.
I've had some experience with it in high school, maybe, digital art and whatnot, but up until recently, like I was not a graphic designer. And I never went to school for graphic design because why would I pay you when I could
Sure.
go on YouTube and then do exactly what they do?
Yeah,
Um,
the internet's free education.
yeah, literally. And I'm thankful enough to have connection to be able to pursue it, because it's hard. This is hard work to keep up. Not
Sure.
necess
I
yeah,
mean,
not necessarily the work of doing it, but just the work of finding work so you can do it. And I'm
right.
I'm
And I completely agree with that because that's how like when I'm doing my podcasting and stuff, that's I have to do the same thing. I have to like find people to be on
yeah.
there. That's not just like I don't want to say a random person, but just like any, basic person.
Mhm.
Like I can't just put like a random person off the street on here. It's like I don't know. I mean I have nothing to go off of, and it's just like I'm shooting in the dark, and it's like they could be like, um, I don't know what that is. Like I don't know. Like what's cinematography? I don't know. I don't know. But like that I feel that. I felt that because
Yeah.
you have to search for fake people to do work for you. And then I'm over here just like I need to find people to be here
Mhm.
in front of me. And they have to be not like specific people, but they have to be a certain like I guess you could say category, you could say, in a sense. And I mean, searching for work is I mean, that's like it encourages entrepreneurship,
Mhm. Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Literally, it
Completely.
literally is, yeah. And it's like I have to I have to go look like just because I know that I am good with what I've been doing so far doesn't mean that they would just come to me automatically. I have to advertise it. I have to every show that I've gone to, um, I go up to the bands and be like, hey, you guys did great. Um, if you ever need a shirt design or just a plain flyer, like this is what I've done, this is who I've done it for. Like I think my work suits your work very well, you know?
Sure. Like, I mean, I understand that completely because like I think I don't realize it, but I mean when I go to concerts, I think of like I always keep that in my back of my mind. Like if I see someone like that I want to like meet, I gotta go out of my way and be like, hey, I'm doing a podcast. Do you want to be on it? Like when Metallica came in with the like, M72 World Tour they have going on. They came to St. Louis last November, and I shit I feel like the luckiest person in the world to this day. But I met two people, like celebrities, that I've always wanted to meet. One of them I've known on Instagram for like a good year or two, so it wasn't too like shocking for me. But I met Spencer Charnas, the singer of Ice Nine Kills,
Wow.
and I just saw him with like his like whole group of like I don't know who they were. I'd imagine they were just security people, but there's like four of them around him, just walking with him, and he's just going to the pit to just watch a show. That's all he's doing. And these people like they have the clearance passes on their waist. I can see them,
Mhm.
but they're in casual clothes, like just like him. And he's just like they're just walking out to the crowd just to watch the show. But I saw him and he walked right in front of me, and I'm like, and my friend that's next to me, best friend, one of my best friends in the entire world, he's like, he just sees it. He doesn't see him at first, but I'm just like, I see this person and the flashiness just catches me. I'm like, that's Spencer. I said to my friend, and he's hyper focused. It's just like, where? And he's like a fanboy for him. And he just sees him and he just yells, Spencer. And bro just whips around, just like with a big smile on his face. And he just and then my friend just ran up to him and hugged him. Like the security didn't react. They watched us the entire time, but they didn't react. And he's like, I fucking love you. Like my friend was. And Spencer's like, I love you too. And it was such a wholesome moment. I skipped on getting a picture with him because of that, because I saw how starstruck my friend was. I'm not trying to make anyone that's listening to this feel like, oh my God, he's such a sweet person. But I saw it was my friend's moment. And I was like, I'm not gonna I like Spencer after like the fact saw me just standing there and he walked up to me and just hugged me. And he was just like, "Do you want a picture?" I was like, "No, this is his moment. I have my whole life ahead of me. I'll probably meet you again.
I'll see you later.
Knowing me. I'll see
Yeah.
you later, Brody." It was like it was just like a casual conversation. It was so amazing. And then someone that I've been trying to get on this podcast and I started it, Charlie Engine. He's the drummer of Five Finger Death Punch.
Mm.
And I've known him on Instagram for a couple of years now, but I met him like not even like 10 minutes after that interaction with Spencer. I just see him walking and I just see like the M72 Five Finger Death Punch pass on his waist. And I didn't really pay much attention, but we kind of like saw each other at the same time. We were like, it's like, and that was a little bit more for me. I was like, because he kind of like immediately seemed to know who I was.
Mhm.
But I was just like, I saw him and I'm like, Charlie. And he's just like, Liam. And then we kind of just like talked for like 15 minutes. It was amazing. But anyway, that was my. I didn't even get starstruck over it though. It was like I saw him. I'm like, that's my friend. Like that's how I felt. Like I had talked to him enough on Instagram. I'm like, that's my friend. And I mean, and that's one thing I think the music industry or just fan base as a whole. I feel like they should. In my opinion, like I respect when you idolize someone,
Mm.
but I feel like one thing that people lose sight of is that those are people too.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't like viewing celebrities as idols. I just
Yeah.
like to think of them as people like me and you.
Yeah. No, I just listen to music and appreciate it. I don't really
Right. Like
care to,
I
you
meet the
know.
singer or I meet someone in the band. And it's like, that's really cool. I met them. So I can say I met those people.
Yeah.
But it's like they make music that I love. Like
Yeah.
they're people just like me and you. But like what would it's gonna be a little bit of a shot in the dark, but if you could do work for any band in the
Any
entire world, what would it be?
the Strokes. I love the Strokes. They're so like they went from being very garage band
Sure.
to like to better. I would say, or the 1975, they're black and white suits. Yeah, it's
Suits,
just suits, suits, black and
just
white.
suits.
I've
Black and
been
white.
working with that. I've been
Why
working
does
with
that sound?
that with black and white suits.
Sure. I don't know why I can't after this podcast. I can't hear black and white without thinking about when and Ray. I think that's a good place to I think to potentially try to end this. It's just I'm sorry, every time I'm asked a question, I just see when and May. Every time. I don't know why. Help. I don't know. I'm dying of just, I'm having hot flashes because I just love Brett and Wename so much. Anyway. But with that, I think I'm gonna call this, end of it. To all of you listening out there, if you enjoyed this, please check me out on social media. My main page is fcp.liam, Liam. So FCP period LIAM. You could also find us on Instagram, Full Circle Podcast. Look it up. You'll more than likely see the logo on the cover art, but it's a little skull and a red halo around it. You'll find them. I stand out a little bit. Um, Artie, what's your Instagram handle so they can check you out or anyone?
It's artie.z, ARTIE.ZE.
It's a lot of letters, but I think it's worth it. I'll
It's
put
worth it.
links and everything down in the description. I'll shout you out all on there and everything. But if you want to check either of us out, all the stuff's going to be in the bio. Or if you want to just rewatch that little part like 10 bajillion times to just search it. I know some people out there are like that, but I hope everyone has a great day, evening, whatever time of the day it is, and go check out more Full Circle podcasts. Go check out Artie and her work. Just do it. Just you're listening to me. It's an obligation, everyone. Just do it. Um, but yeah, go give her a follow on Instagram. Give the Full Circle podcast a follow, and we'll catch you on the next episode.